Hello and welcome everyone. You've tuned in to the ONEAi Insider webinar for all of our ONEAi Insiders. My name is Petteri Raatikainen, Director of Products here at ONEiO, and I'm still a human, not yet an AI. Today we'll be walking through how ONEAi came to be and what is driving our future developments in AI at the core of ONEiO. First, we'll cover our principles for AI development and why ONEAi makes sense for us. We'll go through how AI can assist in integrations to combat many of the pains felt during and after integration projects. Then we'll take a look at specifically how ONEAi will be able to assist in many of the jobs we do when delivering successful integrations. And finally, we'll top it off with a demo of our latest AI capability for suggesting attribute mappings and a chance for all of you to ask questions and express your thoughts towards the exciting future of ONEAi. Now let's dive right in. ONEiO was founded on the premise that integration projects are painful, to both deliver and to maintain once the project is over. Our founders have felt it for years, and I've personally felt it during my career. Whether it's tackling the complexity of the systems and their APIs, push deadlines, or the difficulty in budgeting and projecting the cost of an integration project, it all makes delivering an integration project a pain. Once the initial project is done, how do we ensure that the integration keeps operating at the level we expect it to? When it comes to integration, people, processes, and tools are continually changing. When people change, how fast can the next person understand how the integration is expected to operate? When the processes are adjusted, how quickly can the integration be adjusted to match the changes in requirements? And once the tools evolve or get replaced, whether it's your tool, your supplier's tool, or your customer's tool, how long does it take to adapt the integration? All of these are pains that we feel during the development and maintenance of integrations. We've strived to build a solution that eliminates the need to develop and maintain integrations. While we've been tackling the integration challenges, AI research has tackled how artificial intelligence can become closer to our own intelligence. In the years of developing ONEiO to be the true integration automation platform, from our first efforts to building a scalable platform, to delivering large-scale integration projects to some of the largest enterprises and service providers, has accumulated us with a wealth of experience from integration projects. But it also gives us, more importantly, a vast collection of contextual metadata about integrations. And that brings us to the fusion moment. With the vast context that we've collected over the years and the availability to use large language models directly in our product, makes it possible for us to realize the promise of true integration automation. But before we dive into the roadmap of ONEAi's developments, let's briefly take a look at how generative AI can bring relief to the integration pains we have all experienced. On the development side, generative AI can shorten the learning curve for both learning how to use an integration platform by providing you better guidance, and on the integrated tools side, it can explain how APIs of the integrated tools can be best worked with. It can also be used to generate project updates proactively, keeping everyone in the project up to date about the progress. And once the integration is ready to be tested, it can uncover test scenarios we may have not thought about and even generate test data to be used within the testing process. Once the development is wrapping up, the learnings of the project can be easier compiled into best practices that help us in the next projects. On the maintenance side, generative AI can help us in the process that we all dread the most, preparing detailed documentation of how a process is integrated and how the integration was implemented. Once the integration is up and running, the actions made to resolve integration errors help the platform to heal itself by learning what to do when an error has been encountered. The infrastructure that runs the integrations can also be scaled intelligently by using AI. And finally, bringing forth the signals that require actions help us to better ensure our integrations will continue to operate. And now, how does ONEAi take the pains and turns them into these gains? You might be first asking, where does AI sit within the ONEiO platform? Well, simply put, it sits within our AWS cloud architecture, built to ensure enterprise-grade scale and security. We use models made available within Amazon Bedrock, giving us the possibility to find the most suitable model for our purposes. We, of course, take measures that data being sent to the models is not used for training purposes, and we clean up any customer-specific data before using the large language models. Within the ONEiO application, ONEAi powers the foundation. The value of ONEiO lies in improving both the setup required for integrations and ensuring the continuous operation of integration, tied together by an intelligent home for your integrations, bringing you insights into how your integrations are performing and assisting you with the setup of new ones. The future holds a lot of improvements to both the ramp-up and the runtime. Connecting your tools automatically reduces the need to understand the APIs of the systems you're working with and how they operate. Suggesting the logic and mappings between the tools includes the understanding gathered from how processes should integrate in the most meaningful way. On the maintenance and the runtime side, knowing what to do when an error occurs and intelligently routing critical messages ensures that you can recover from errors faster and ensure your processes can continue to run smoothly, all while ensuring you're getting the best return for your investment with our transparent pricing and prescribing you with the most suitable subscription level. Now, how does it look like in the ONEiO app? On our home screen, ONEiO and ONEAi can bring additional insights into integration health, your usage, as well as the latest changes made within ONEiO. ONEAi can suggest you new integrations to set up and assist you with creating them. It can also provide you with insights into your usage. For example, when your quota consumption is abnormally high, it can tell you what the latest trends have been. In an error situation, when an integration's message is failing, ONEAi can bring you instructions on how to resolve the error by bringing you the data that you need and also the steps to resolve the issue. The same approach we use in the message feed. We bring the error notifications directly into the message feed, extract them using ONEAi so that the most meaningful information is displayed first, and when viewing the details of the error, ONEAi can bring you additional information about what is going on and then ultimately provide you with ways to resolve the issue. On the ramp-up side, ONEAi helps you how to configure integrations faster. Now we'll dive into the demo and see how our first AI capability helps in mapping attributes within routing rules. And it will be available for our ONEAi insiders in the following weeks. Let's jump right in. Here within ONEiO, I've already logged into our demo subscription, and as you can see on the screen, there's a lot of endpoints already created and integrations running between them, ranging from Jira to ServiceNow and Zendesk and Slack. All of these integrations are already running in the subscription. On the routing rules page, I can see that there's a lot of routing rules already connected. These have been either created by our rule robot or added to handle various scenarios in the integration. Let's take a look at how the new AI mapping suggestions can help in the process of creating a new rule. Let's say I'd like to create a new rule that is going to handle the scenario in a ServiceNow to Jira service request process. I'll give my rule, first of all, a descriptive name, demo routing rule, add it to a use case to help it be categorized and grouped so that I can group them and filter them in the rules view, as well as see them in the message feed in a nicely filtered view. On the endpoint side, I'll select, of course, my service now, and underneath that I'll take the SC request entity type, which is used in the service request integration. On the outbound side, I'll select my Jira, and again selecting the service request entity type, and I'll leave the message type here now unselected. The rest of the sections don't really matter for the AI mapping suggestions to work, so I'll ignore them. The operation, the conditions, delays, and response rules, they don't need to be selected for the AI to function. The only thing that matters is that the endpoints are known and the entity types that are integrated are known. Now jumping into the new Mappings 2.0 tab, we can see a new button is available here in the center screen where I can ask ONEAi to suggest mappings. It allows me to get suggestions only for outbound mappings currently. In the future, we hope to bring support for runtime mappings and conversation mappings, and also to the conditional mappings. So right now, only single mappings are supported by the AI suggestion. Once I click on the button, the magic starts to happen. ONEAi looks through the entity types and the attribute descriptions that have been given to it, and provides you with a list of suggested attributes to map. As you can see with the list, it's quite extensive. There's a lot of fields configured for both of these endpoints, so it will go through and check which ones most probably should be mapped to each other. And what I can do here now is I can leave the mappings as is, all are by default selected, and I can add them, or I can unselect the ones that I don't want to include in this mappings currently. And once I click on add mappings, it will add the mappings into the regular view, and I can go ahead and adjust them if needed. I can add the formatters from the center here, or I can go ahead and change these mappings or add new ones. And we'll try to add a new one right here, and you can see that the AI works also in another way. So whenever I type an attribute into here and move to the next column for the outbound side, it will actually suggest you automatically which field it should be mapped to. So company should be mapped here to fields company. And what I can do then is either click on this button, or with a simple keyboard shortcut using Control or Command Enter, I can accept the ONEAi suggestion. And again, I can work with these rules as I would normally do. It's just an additional feature to help out in starting off the mapping process. If I delete a mapping and go back to the top, there's also another button that allows me to ask ONEAi for further suggestions. By clicking on that, ONEAi does its magic again and finds the same field company to be mapped to fields company and suggests that as well. So all the previously made suggestions and the mappings that already exist are not taken into account in the new mapping suggestion. And then I can just go ahead and add the mapping into the rule. Let's take shortly a look at what is this all based on. That is coming from the endpoint specifically. And as said, the endpoints and the entity types need to be known for the suggestions to work. And what it's basing these suggestions on is actually the attribute descriptions underneath each of the entity types. And using these created attributes here and their descriptions, that's how ONEAi will know to suggest the correct mappings. And not only are we using the ones that are within these, we are of course taking a look at what mappings have been previously done. And that is the additional context that really makes it powerful for us to suggest the most likely pairings for each of these attributes. It's using previous integrations, and of course we've removed any customer-specific mappings or attribute descriptions that have been included in that data set. And that's the short demo part, concluding that here right now. And next we'll jump into the Q&A section, where we hope that you will bring forward some questions and we can provide you with answers related to our future AI developments. And you can use the chat functionality on the bottom right corner of your screen and type in some questions, and we'll provide you with some answers here. So let's move on to the Q&A. All right, let's see if we have any questions coming into the chat. I can see a couple of people typing up some messages, and a few of them flooding in. I'll wait a few minutes here, or a moment, before I start answering them and go through them. I can see that a couple of them are very similar to each other, so we can tackle those at the same time. Keep the questions coming in, but let's start from the beginning. Jukka had asked, can you describe the licensing model of ONEAi? And the simple answer is it is included in the subscription of the ONEiO platform itself. So we strive to bring these capabilities to be part of the actual platform, and they are the ways that we improve the ramp-up side of creating integrations as quickly as possible, and also the monitoring side to make sure that they're up and running. So most of the capabilities and the ones that I've presented here today would be a part of the subscription model. And I think we had Kim asking a similar question about that. How are the AI features priced? Is it an additional cost included in it? Yes, it is included in the subscription there. August had asked here, or sorry, it's Michael from UFST having a question about attribute conditions. Very specific question about how can we actually conditionally use the routing rules and go through them. It's a very good suggestion to use OR logic as well. We've looked into it earlier. It's something that we hope to be providing into the product. It's not part of our ONEAi roadmap and won't be included in the ONEAi developments at the moment. But overall, of course, we strive to bring improvements to other parts of the product. So it's not all about AI developments all the time. We do bring other improvements as well in the future. So can't definitively say when would there be OR logic, but we're still looking into the different cases and how to handle the various ways of conditionally triggering routing rules. Or sorry, attribute conditions. Andrew had asked here, how do we see ONEAi helping with troubleshooting errors in the future? Part of this was this message feed view that I showed here. The first insight is that we will have a way to describe the errors better, which means that we start from actually giving insights into how do we troubleshoot them. So giving a proposal for what would be the actions to take. And that's been in our experimental stage right now, and we found that we can actually provide quite valuable instructions on what to do when an error happens. So that helps already to take the next steps of how to troubleshoot it. We of course want to improve the notification side based on that. So now we know that we send a lot of alerts and notifications through the app whenever there is a situation. So that's another area related topic to this, is that when we find an error, can we already resolve it automatically by doing certain operations? But we do notice a lot of times that when we have an error situation, many of the cases are related to the sending or receiving application, whether it's not responding, or there is an issue with accesses, or there's a operation that is not allowed to be done. So these kind of cases, ONEiO itself and ONEAi cannot really take the action to remove the error, but we can of course provide with instructions on how you would best try to tackle that issue, whether it's changing the accesses that the ONEiO integration user has in the system, adjusting the process in the system a little bit so that it's working to that side. Good. Then we have a couple more. Juho is asking when can we expect to see these capabilities? I'm sure that's a question that everyone's expecting. As I mentioned, the attribute mapping is coming very soon. If you are now signed up to be an insider, we will release this capability for our insiders, most likely next week. So you get a hold of the attribute mapping suggestions. And following that, we'll begin the development on this error display in the message feed. And also the linkage to the notifications would follow after that. James is asking, what's the greatest benefit to our customers from these capabilities? Tough question. What's the greatest benefit? I think that the pillars and the foundation that we have from making sure integrations can be configured as fast as possible, and then the runtime that we can mitigate any errors as fast as possible. Those are the foundation for us to develop any features. So every capability that we're introducing is building on top of that foundation so that we can keep promising the delivery times of 2 weeks for an integration to go live. So I think that's the greatest benefit, is also the time saved when setting up an integration, or the time spent on trying to troubleshoot an issue. Felix was asking, will ONEAi help me to set up a general REST endpoint integration, as this seems to be quite complex? I understand it is quite complex from the beginning to set up all the fields and the required data for the endpoint to work. Partly that is also due to the fact that the custom REST is able to connect to most or all REST-based systems. So hence it has become quite a complex endpoint to actually work with. Most of our other endpoints are tailored to the specific system. So it means that we can really simplify the number of fields that you have to enter. But with the custom REST endpoint, it is trying to serve all systems out there. So you can understand it's a difficult challenge for that. But it is also an area that we do see working on in the near future, of how we can guide the users better. And that's something that we can use other tooling as well to guide users better through setting it up. And we're also seeing how can we possibly limit some of the fields that are not so generally needed when integrating with a REST endpoint. So if you're not familiar with the REST or the custom REST endpoint that we have right now, it allows you to basically connect to any REST-based system, and that causes somewhat complexity there in what fields and how to configure it, but it is also a very powerful endpoint there. Juho is asking, will the ONEAi also provide table mappings, like for status mapping? Good question. I think that we will provide that capability. It is a more complex task, however, to provide in some situations. I think there are some common ones, for example, for priorities and how to handle mappings of priorities. But the nature of a conditional mapping also makes it so that in some situations it's hard to use and hard to have context to actually provide a meaningful suggestion, when oftentimes these are very system specific, or there are even customer case specific what types of mappings we have. But we'll be looking into that. How do we make it possible for table mappings to also have this capability? As I know that they are very complex mappings in the first place. There's possibly a lot of columns and rows that need to be added to the actual mapping. So it would definitely help out with that as well. Felix had a question about, is the Insider program bound to a specific user account, or can all people from my company with an account access the feature? Well, originally the plan was that we'll do that per user, so anyone who's signed up, but I'm sure that we can arrange it so that your organization can get full access to it, and we don't have to have everyone sign up individually. So I'll take a note of that, and we'll reach out to you all about this, if your organization wants to be part of it, or do you want to just individually have access to the feature. So we can make both happen here. Good. I think the message flood has stopped coming in, or the questions. You can still ask something if there's coming to mind. We got someone typing right now, so let's wait a moment. Okay, so thank you. Great. As I mentioned, this Insider program, I'll just give a brief reminder of what it is. So the ONEAi Insider Program is our way of providing early access to the AI features that we're developing. And it's also a way for us to test out the capabilities and get and receive your feedback. So the benefit to you, if you are part of it, whether individually or as your organization, is that you get to give us feedback, and very early feedback, in the development of these capabilities, so that we can help make it the most beneficial features in the AI area for you. And that's what we always strive for, is that we'll deliver capabilities that actually help out in the ramp up stage when you need to configure an integration or when you need to follow up on that. So on the screen, you'll see the link to join this. We'll also email you afterwards about this, and we can also arrange it so that organizations can join and all of our users. So not everyone needs to sign up, but you'll hear from us. We'll also provide you with additional content related to what's happening on the ONEAi side, what's the future, where are we going, and other helpful materials that come with that. So go ahead, join the program, and we'll get you on the inside. And that's a wrap up for this webinar today. Thank you for coming. Thank you for asking very good questions today. And as said, we'll be emailing you a recording as well after this. So if you want to revisit these topics, you can also reach out to me directly if you have more questions about where ONEAi is heading to. And we'll definitely communicate with our insiders in the very near future. So thank you very much, and have a great day.